Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good evening to all of you. Okay, so today we continue our lecture on chapter 1, which is matrices. This one is our last subtopic for this chapter 1. Okay, so today we are learning on two parts, which is inverse of a matrix and then solving system of linear equation. Okay, last week we already learned about inverse, how to find inverse of matrix, but last week we are using cofactor. Okay, last week we are using cofactor, but today if you have matrix A and then you want to find A inverse, we are using ERO, elementary row operation, which is by using Gauss-Jordan elimination method. Okay, and then the second one, solving system of linear equation. Also, we are using ERO. ERO, the method is quite long, so make sure understand. Okay, so first one, inverse of a matrix. When you want to find inverse of a 3 by 3 matrix by using Gauss-Jordan elimination method. Okay. Where is my... Okay, finding inverse using Gauss-Jordan elimination method. Okay, if you have matrix A and then you want to find A inverse using Gauss-Jordan elimination method, first you must check whether the determinant is equal or zero or not. Okay, you must check whether this one equal zero or not. Okay, so you need to check whether the determinant is equal zero or not. If the determinant is zero, then A inverse does not exist. Okay, automatically when you have determinant equal to zero, then A inverse does not exist. Okay, if the determinant not equal to zero, then A inverse are exist. So when you want to find A inverse by using Gauss-Jordan elimination method, you must write the matrix in the form of augmented metric. What is augmented metric? You have to write in terms of, on the left hand side is matrix A, and then on the right hand side is matrix identity. What is matrix identity? Matrix identity is diagonal equal to 1. Okay, and the rest is 0. Okay, and then we are using reduced row echelon matrix by using ERO, elementary row operation, to produce the matrix in the form you transform the left hand side become matrix identity, and then of course the right hand side become matrix B. Okay, this matrix B also equal to the A inverse, inverse of matrix A. Okay, if you want to check whether your inverse is correct or not, you can check by matrix A times by A inverse, you can get matrix identity. Okay, so looks on the example how to use the ERO in order to find matrix inverse. Okay, you want to find inverse of matrix A. Let's say you have matrix A 2 3 4 2 1 1 negative 1 1 2. If it is invertible, okay, and then using ERO to produce reduced row echelon form. Okay, what is reduced row echelon form? Reduced row echelon form is the diagonal one. You must produce. At the end, you can get matrix identity. Okay, so first you must write in terms of augmented metric. So this one we call it as augmented metric. which is on the left hand side is matrix A, and then on the right hand side is the identity, matrix identity. Okay, now you want to change this one. What is your main idea? Main idea you right now is you want to change identity to become left hand side, and then the right hand side become other metric lah. So your target, you must produce this value become 0. Okay, this 6 value become 0. Usually it is easy for you whether you choose the top 3 here first become 0, or the bottom 3 here become 0. Okay, usually we must start with, if you want to choose the lower part, you must change -1 become 0 first, and then goes to 2, and then goes to 1. Dia macam ni naik. Gitu. Or if you want to start at the upper part, you must start with 4, goes to 1, and then goes to 3. Dia punya formula macam tu. Okay. So your target is up to you, whether you want to choose on the upper part or you want to choose on the lower part. Okay. For this one, I want to become 0, the upper part first. Okay. So it is easy for you if you change this one become 0 first, which is 4 and 1. Remember, when you want to change this 2 entry become 0, we can use the entry on the row 3. Okay, we can choose on the entry row 3 because you can solve directly between row 1 and row 2 using row 3. Okay, remember, when you want to change row 1, if you want to change row 1, so we are using row 3, right? Plus row 1. This one must be equal. And this one must be positive 1 only. This value must be positive. You cannot put here negative. Must be positive. You only can change this item. Okay, value that times by R3 only. Okay, if you write, for example, you write, you want to change R1 and then R3 minus R1. Okay, even though you get the same value, but the way of your calculation is wrong, because you must use plus here, and here must be 1 times R1. Okay, you only can change for this one because you want to change row 1. Okay, when you want to change row 1, value at row 1 cannot be changed. Okay, for example, this one, I want to change 4 become 0 by using row 3. So you must think this row 3 is 2. How to get 4? Times by what? Why? Our aims is 4. Because 4 plus -4 plus 4, you can get 0. So this R3, you must times by -2. Okay, because when -2 times by 2, you can get -4. Here, -4 plus 4, you can get 0. Because our aims is 0. That's why our formulation here is R1 negative 2R3 plus R1. Okay, negative 2R3, which is negative 2 times 2 is negative 4 plus 4 becomes 0. Okay, that one for row 1. Okay, what happened for row 2? Row 2, you want to change negative 1 and you want to change 1 become 0. So, we are using row 3. Okay, bila we are using row 3, so these 2 should produce, okay, should produce become the answer is 1. So, 2 times by 1 over 2. Okay, when 1 over 2 become 1. Negative 1 times plus 1 become 0. Okay, so that's one. Our formulation is like this. Okay, so after you produce formulation, we can find the solution. Okay. Tutup apa tu? Tak faham. Okey. Ingat Faham ke tak tu apa saya cakap tu?
Tak dapat saya.
Tak dapat tak mana?
Dia dah dapat yang saya. Lepas tu macam mana boleh dapat semua tu? Kena buat sama
Ni.
juga.
Sama
Kan
lah.
kita cari 2 je kan? 2
Ya,
R
mula-mula
tu.
target awak nak kosongkan yang ni dulu. 4 dengan 1. Tapi kita menggunakan 2. Dia tak boleh awak ni, awak buat R1. Okay. R1, let's say you want to change row 1, which is 4. Awak guna row 1. So, awak nak guna row 2. Kalau awak nak guna row 2, kita akan guna negatif 2 and then negatif 4 lah. Let's say awak nak guna row 2. For example, awak nak guna row 2. Boleh juga. R1 negatif 4 R2 plus R1. Sebab sini adalah kosong. Tapi kita tak boleh serentak dengan row 2. Sebab row 2 awak dah guna kat sini. So kita kena buat satu-satu. Okey? Kalau awak nak buat serentak antara row 1 dengan row 2, awak kena guna row 3. That's why saya guna row 3. Sebab row 3 tidak berubah. Dia maintain ni. Row yang awak nak ubah, awak tak boleh guna untuk serentakkan dia. Okay?
Biasa kita target 4 dengan 1 dulu lah.
Yes.
Okay.
So now, row 3 does not change. Awak copy balik je row 3, which is this value. It is equal. But now, you want to change row 1. What is you using? Row 1, negative 2, row 3 plus row 1. So, negative 2, row 3. Negative 2, row 3. Negative 2 times by negative 1. 2. 2 plus 2 equal to 4. The answer here 4. Okay. Negative 2, row 3. Negative 2 times 1. Negative 2 plus 3 equal to 1. Negative 2 times 2. Negative 4. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1. So the answer is here 1. Negative 2 times 0 is 0 plus 0 is 0. Okay. And then negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 0 is negative 2. So you can get the answer for row 1. Next, you find the answer for row 3, row 2. What is the formula for row 2? I write again. Row 2 Negative 1 over 2 row 3 plus row 2. You must using the same one and then must be plus. Okay. And then negative 1 over 2 times by negative 1 is 1 over 2. 1 over 2 plus 2. So you can get 5 over 2. Also same thing. Negative 1 over 2 times 1 is negative 1 over 2. Negative 1 over 2 plus 1 is 1 over 2. Negative 1 over 2 times 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Okay. And then negative 1 over 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 0 also 0. Negative 1 over 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. Negative 1 over 2 times 1 is negative 1 over 2. Plus 0 is negative 1 over 2. So you can get the full 1. Okay. So now, since you already get this answer, next, our aim to become this entry 0. So remember, when you want to become this entry 0, you must use row. What happened? Okay, if you want to become this entry 0, you must use row 2. Wajib guna row 2. Okay, if you are using row 3, you will get another value here. Okay, you must use row 2 because row 2, this one is already 0. 0 with 0, so you can get 0. If you are using row 3, you can get other value here. Bila awak dapat value kat situ, tak mencapailah objektif kita nak jadikan dia kosong. Okay, so you must use row 1. Okay, row 2. Okay, in order to become this one 0, we know that using row 2, here is negative 1 over 2. How to simplify 1 over 2 become 0? Okay, so we know that 1 over 2 times by negative 2. So you can get negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 become 0. So that's why we are using R1 equal to negative R2 plus R1. Again, I remind you, when you want to change R1, here must be plus R1. Cannot be negative or cannot be other value. If you times with any constant, tak boleh ya. Okay, next. So the rest is equal lah. Row 3, just copy again. Row 2, also copy again. The changes is only row 1. Okay, so we know that negative row 1 equal to negative 2 R2 plus row 1. Negative 2 times by 5 over 2 become negative 5. Negative 5 plus 4, negative 1. Negative 2 times 1 over 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1, 0. Okay, next. Negative 2 times 0 is 0 plus 0, also 0 lah. Next, negative 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. And then negative 2 times by 1 is negative 2 plus 0 is negative 2. Negative 1 over 2 times by negative 2, so that one become negative 1. Negative 1 plus negative 2 is negative 1. Okay, boleh. Okay, next. The top is already 0. Our target now, this one should be 0, this one must be 0. Okay, so we are using this formula. Okay, to become 5/2 is 0, since the ups, you must use row 1. Semua awak kena guna row 1. Wajib. Okay. And then this one plus row 2. Since here is -1, to become 5/2 is 0. So you just times 5/2 lah. Okay. Times 5/2. And then -1 to become this one 0. You just times -1. Okay. And then you can get the final answer is this value. Okay. And then now our target is to change 1 become 0. You must use row 2 here. Okay. Okay, and then you can get this one, row 2 times by -2 plus row 3. So this one becomes 0. So your final answer is this one. Okay. Next, you want to change this one become 1, this row 2 become 1, and row 3 become 1, because the identity must be diagonal equal to 1. Okay, so row 1 times by -1, row 2 times by 2, and then row 3 times by 1/2. So you can get this value. Okay, since on the left hand side is identity, then you can get on the right hand side is the inverse. Okay, your final answer become A inverse is the metric on the right hand side. So that is the answer.
Nota ni ada dalam million ke?
Okay, next. Find the inverse of the following metric. A, 1, 2, -1, 0, 1, -1, -1, 0, -2. So this one, you must produce -1 is 0. Okay. Of course, you only can use the row 1. Okay. And then this one 0, 0. Yang ni mesti kena 0 ni. 3 to 0 dulu. 6 to 0. Okay. First of all, you must write in terms of augmented metric. Write something like this. Whereby on the left hand side is a metric A. On the right hand side is a metric identity. So now you want to set this one. I want to solve the bottom first. Okay. Tadi saya guna yang atas. Ni yang kat bawah. So -1. I want to change become 0. So I am using row 1. So how you want to solve? Okay. Row 3 equal to row 1 plus row 3. Whereby row 1 is 1 plus -1. So you can get 0. So to solve this one, awak copy dulu semua ni. This one is does not change. Row 1 and row 2. Okay, in order to change row 3, we are using row 3 equal to row 1 plus row 3. So, -1 plus 1 minus -1 is 0. 2 plus 0 is 2. -1 plus -2 become -1 minus -2. So it is become -3. 1 plus 0 become 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 become 1. So this is the answer for that one. Next, you want to change 2 here. Okay. You want to change 2. you must use row 2 in order to change row 3. So we know that row 2 is 1. So you want to change become 0 for row 3 here. You must times by negative 2. Okay, negative 2 times by row 2, which is negative 2 plus row 3, which is 2. So you can get your answer is 0. Okay, so now, okay, so R3 equal to negative R2 plus R3. Okay, so 0 times by negative 2 is 0 lah. You must check here. Plus 0 is also 0. Yes, because from here goes to this one. Negative 2 times by R2. Look here, negative 2 times by R2, negative times by 1, negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Negative 2 times by negative 1, which is 2. 2 minus 3, negative 1. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. Negative 2 times 1, negative 2. Plus 0, negative 2. Negative 2 times 0, 0. Plus 1, 1. Dapat. Okay, next, our aim to change this value becomes 0 and then this value 0. Again, when you want to change row 1 and row 2 become 0, we solve simultaneously by using row 3 here. Okay? Because row 3 does not change. So you can use row 3 direct simultaneously. Okay? Okay. So this one, we are using row 1 since all the value is negative. So, and all the value is 1, negative 1. So, negative row 3 plus row 1 and negative row 3 plus row 2. So, this one become, again, first, you must write on the row 3 first because row 3 does not change. Okay. And then row 3, 0 plus 1 become 1. 0 plus 2 become 2. Negative 1 times by negative 1. So 1. 1 minus 1, 0. Negative 1 plus 1, 0. Negative 2 times by negative 1 is 2. 2 plus 0 become 2. And then 1 times by negative 1 plus 0 become negative 1. That one for row 1. Also a same thing for row 2. Okay. Looks on the row 2. Negative row 3 plus row 2. So you can get 0 here. Negative row 3, 0 plus 1. You can get 1. Negative 1 times by negative 1 is 1. 1 minus 1, 0. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. Negative 2 times by negative 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 become 3. 1 times by negative 1 and then plus 0. So you can get negative 1. So this is the answer. Okay, and then the last one, you must change 2 will become 0. Again, when you want to change 2 on the middle part, you must use row 2. Wajib guna row 2. Jangan guna row 3. Kalau awak guna row 3, they exist the other value at the 0. Nanti awak buat kerja sia-sia je. Okay. So this one, when you want to change 2 become 0, we are using row 2. Okay. Row 1 equal to negative 2 row 2 plus row 1. So again, you just copy back. Okay. So negative 2 times 0 plus 1 become 1. Negative 2 times 1, negative 2 plus 2 become 0. Negative 2 times 0 plus 0 become 0. Negative 2 times 1 is become 2 plus 0 is 2. And then negative 2 times by 3, negative 6. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Negative 2 times by negative 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay. So this is the final answer. But now you must check. The diagonal must be 1. So we have 1 value. You must change negative 1 become 1. So row 3 must be times by negative row 3. So you can get this value. So since on the right hand side, left hand side is the metric identity, therefore on the right hand side is the metric inverse A. So this is the final answer. Any problems? Next, our last subtopic for this chapter, which is solving system of linear equation. What is solving system of linear equations? Recall it, okay. If you have a system of equation, it's a collection of 2 or more equation, each containing 1 or more variables, or a solution of a system of equation consists of values for the variables that reduce each equations of the system to a true statement. To solve a system of equations means to find all solution of the system, and then when a system of equation has at least one solution, it is said to be consistent, otherwise it called inconsistent. Okay, this one just only the definition. Okay, system of linear equations, for example, if you have these two system of linear equations, or you have these three system of linear equation, you can solve this one using metric by convert into augmented metric. So these two system of linear equation become this augmented metric. These three system of linear equation become this augmented metric. Remember, before you transform to augmented metric, make sure all the x variables must be equal or the same column. Y variable must be equal the same column. Also, a same thing if the variable is x1, x2, x3. So the first one x1, x2, x3. So x1, x2, x3. Okay. Okay. You cannot mix up. Dia mesti kena sama. If you want to change, the first column is R3. Doesn't matter. So all the first column is R3. Remember, dia mesti kena duduk dalam turutan yang sama. If you not check that one, your problem will be mistake lah. Okay. Now, we want to solve system of linear equation by using Gaussian elimination method. Okay. What is Gaussian elimination method? Gaussian elimination method with back substitution, also we call it as row echelon form. This one can solve by write a system of linear equation into augmented metric, and then use row operation. You using ERO to rewrite the augmented matrix in the row echelon form, and then write the system of linear equation that correspond to the matrix in row echelon form is found in step 2, and then solve with back substitution. What that means back of substitution? You can get the answer in terms of if you have unknowns x, y, z, you can get z first. Okay? When if you have a matrix, let's say you have matrix macam tu and then change to augmented, this one is diagonal, the below here is 0. Okay? So that one we are using back substitution method. Kita hanya tukar yang kat bawah 3 tu kosong. Okay? That one we call it as back substitution. Okay. For example, use Gaussian elimination method with back substitution to solve the following system of linear equation. So you have the system of linear equation. When you to solve this one, make sure change to augmented matrix first. When you want to change to augmented matrix, make sure you must places at the right place. Okay, all the x must be x, all the y must be y, and then the answer change to augmented matrix. Okay, so you can get this one: 2, 1, -8, 1, 3, 6. Okay, if the question asks you to use back substitution, means that you must change this value become 0. Okay, this one must be 0, and then 3 become 1. Only that part. Okay, so you can solve this equation lah. So how to change? Yeah. Okay, make sure change your question. This one is -8, not -1. Okay. So now, if you want to change by using arrow, okay, you want to change row 2. Okay, row 2 equal to -1/2 row 1 plus row 2. So -1/2 times 2 is -1. -1 plus 1 become 0 here. And then -1/2 times 1, which is -1/2 plus 3 become 5/3. -8 times by -1/2 become 4. 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay. Next, our target to change 5/2 is 1 because you are using back substitution, Gaussian elimination method. So 5/2 equal to 1, and then this one become 1. Okay, so we are using row 1 times by 1/2, row 2 times by 2/5. Dia bertukar situ, so you can get 1. So your final answer is 1/2 minus 4. 0, 1 equal to 4. Okay, only that one. And then change to the equation, you can get x plus 1/2y equal to -4, and then y equal to 4. That's why we call it back substitution, because we can get the answer in terms of y first at the back. Okay. Since we already get the answer y equal to 4, then we can find the value of x. Okay. Value of x, you substitute y at this equation, you can get x plus 1/2 times 4 equal to -4, then x equal to -6. So your final answer is y equal to 4 and then x equal to -6. That one for equation, for example 1. Next, for example 2, using Gaussian elimination method to solve the following system of linear equations, also same thing. Change this system of linear equation in terms of augmented metric. So you can get this one. Okay. So by using Gaussian elimination method, we need to change this one 0, 0, 0. And this one become 1 at least. Okay. Only that part. So first, we want to change 3 and 1 become 0. We are using row 1. Okay. So this one, row 2 minus 1 over 2, row 1 plus row 2. Row 3 equal to negative 3 over 2, row 1 plus row 3. So you can get this metric. Okay. And then next, since here is already 0, next you want to change negative 7 over 2 become 0. In order to change negative 7 over 2 become 0, this value, we must use row 2. Okay, sama je konsep macam tadi. In order to change the middle one, you must choose row 2. Okay, so row 3 you can get by negative 7 over 3. This one row 2 ya. Ni, row 2 ni. Bukan row 1. Row 2 plus row 3. So, you can get 0 on that part. Okay, so you can get 0 here. Okay. And then, this one is row 2, not row 1. Okay. And then, you want to change negative 7 become 1. So, times by 1 over 7. So, you can get this one. Since this 3 and 3 is 0 and the last one is 1. So, this is already enough for Gaussian elimination method. Next, you transform to the linear equation. So, you can get 2x plus y plus 8z equal to negative 1. And then negative 3 over 2y minus 3z equal to negative 3 over 2. And then z equal to negative 1. Since we have the answer for z equal to negative 1, and then we can find the value of y. Okay, to get value of y, substitute z at the value here. So you can get y equal to 3. Since you get z equal to negative 1, y equal to 3, then you can find the value of x. By substitute on the first one, then value of x equal to 2. Thus, x equal to 2, y equal to 3, and z equal to negative 1. So, this is the final answer for example 2. Next, our last one is Gauss-Jordan elimination method. What is Gauss-Jordan elimination method? Step solving linear system of Gauss-Jordan elimination method is reduced row echelon form. What does mean of reduced row echelon form? Kalau tadi Gauss elimination method, you just produce here 0, 0, 0 and 1. But if you are using Gauss-Jordan, you must produce 1, 1 and the rest is 0. Awak kena buat macam matrix identity. Okay? To get the answer. So, Gauss-Jordan elimination method, dia punya konsep panjang sikit lah. Okay? So, write the system of linear equation in an augmented metric. Use row operation to rewrite the augmented metric and then reduce row echelon form. Okay, now look on the example 3. Okay, in order to solve Gaussian elimination Gauss-Jordan elimination method, to solve the following system of linear equation. So for this question, also a same thing, transform in terms of augmented metric, something like this. Our aim is to produce these 6 items is 0. And then the diagonal must be equal to 1. Jalan kerja dia panjang sikit. Okay, it's up to you whether you want to choose the upstairs dulu ke, yang atas ni dulu ke untuk jadi kosong, ataupun bawah ni dulu untuk jadi kosong. It's up to you. Okay, tapi konsepnya sama je. Okay, so I'm using this value. I want to change here become 0 first. When I want to change this row 2 and row 3 become 0, I must use row 1. Okay, that's why I using row 1 here. Okay, so row 2 equal to negative 2 row 1 plus row 2, and row 3 equal to negative 3 row 1 plus row 3. Okay, so we can get this value. Okay, next, our aims to change 3 become 0. Okay, 3 become 0 here. So we are using row 2. Okay, remember when you want to change this value, you must use row 2. Okay, so since here is 3, here is 2, you want to simplify 2 but must times by 3. Easy je. So that's why kita buat negative 3 over 2 R2. So after change this one, you can get this metric. Okay. Next, you want to change this value and this value become 0. So this one using row 3. Okay, that's why I'm using row 3 here. Also a same thing. Why we are using 4 here? Okay, you want to change row 1 equal to row 3 we are using plus row 1. Okay, so tengok apa yang ada dekat ni, dekat function ni. Functionnya ada negatif 1 ke 2. So you put, okay, so this one you put as divide 1 over 2 here. Apa yang ada ke atas is 2. So 2 divide by 1 over 2 become 2 times 2 R3 plus R1. That's why here is 4. Because 2 divided by 1 over 2 is equal to 4. That's why we put here 4. Okay? So you can get the answer this one. Something like this. Okay? Next, our aims to change 1 become 0 using the row 2. Okay? So also a same thing. We are times negative 1 over 2 row 2 plus row 1. And then we can get this value. Next, our aims to change the diagonals become 1. Okay, the diagonal become 1. So row 1 is already 1. Row 2 divide by 2. And then row 3 times by negative 2. Okay. So your final answer become this one. So in this one you can get x equal to 1, y equal to z equal to 3. Because this one is x, this one is y, this one is z. Just write this one. Okay? Any problem?